Hi, I'm Martin Bamford from Bamford Media. I wanted to bring you a brief update from us as we're now starting to think about the lockdown potentially easing. And whilst social distancing measures are likely to stay in place for quite some time still, and we don't yet know the timetable for that lockdown easing, we don't yet know what restrictions will remain in place and for how long, the narrative at the moment does seem to be around a return to some form of normality over the coming months. So I haven't done an update video for Bamford Media and our clients and professional connections for a while. I thought it would be useful just to jump on camera and chat through just a few things, what's going on here in the business, what we're likely to be doing in the future as well. Now, when this all started, when it all kicked off, we made some quite tough decisions, and we made decisions at the time which were not based on the complete information. We didn't know how bad this was going to get. We didn't know for how long it was going to last. We still don't know for how long it's going to last, but we had to make choices back then based on what we knew and what we felt was the most likely outcome. So on day one of the crisis of the lockdown, when the lockdown was announced, we lost about a third to 40% of our revenue, more or less overnight. A couple of our big clients cancelled their contracts by virtue of the closure of their businesses, and we lost quite a bit of our work in pipeline too. I think in the early days of the lockdown, there was an awful lot of anxiety about the severity of this and what it would mean for businesses. That grieving period, as it was, appears to have eased up just a little bit now, but in any sense, we lost a lot of that business on day one. We had to make tough decisions. So one of the tough decisions we made back then was to furlough the majority of our workforce, for one reason that we'd lost the majority of our revenue, but for another reason, which was childcare. With the schools closed and the majority of our workforce parents of school-aged children, it was incredibly difficult to understand how they would balance work from home flexibly with their new homeschooling and remote learning obligations. So that was the right decision for us to make. It was the right decision for them, and it was a decision made in discussion with each individual based on their individual circumstances. So we had less work coming through, we had new childcare obligations and responsibilities for our team members, and that's something I've had to balance here as well as a parent of three. That was the position we were in, so tough choices. But now, as we start thinking about easing this lockdown, easing the social distancing measures, some form of return to normality, we are also starting to have conversations with the team about bringing them back in some sense over the coming weeks and months, and how we get the business back to where it was pre-lockdown. And it was in a great place pre-lockdown. We were busier than ever, we were growing rapidly, lots of fun things happening, but that lockdown brought that all to a grinding halt at what was a pretty bad time for us as a business. We had borrowed money, we had expanded in terms of new members of staff, in terms of office space, and we found ourselves in that position, with the lockdown announced, of taking quite a big step backwards very quickly. So really now it's about getting back on our feet, it's about getting back to normal. That will take time. I'm not expecting that to happen overnight. I think we're looking at a period of months, if not longer, before there's any sort of normality return. I had a conversation last week with one of our clients, David Scarlett, the Soul Millionaire, for his Monday Moments podcast, and Dave and I were talking about what the new normal might look like. So the second part of this video is really to encourage you to think about that new normal, and to just be intentional as you head back into old ways, to really think about what you loved and what you valued from the lockdown, because everyone I speak to tells me there are so many positives to take away. I know it's an awful time for a lot of people. I know this illness and this virus is incredibly nasty. It's stealing lives and loved ones from people. But there are benefits, there are positives to having this almost pause button pressed, having this reset moment in our lives. And I think we should all take away those positives and just try and be a bit more intentional about where we go back to. My biggest fear is that I'll slip back into my old habits. As soon as the lockdown is lifted fully and the social distancing measures are removed at some point, I don't want to go back to all of my old habits. So some of the things I've absolutely loved and really enjoyed from this lockdown period. One, I've realised how much I enjoy working from home. It's what Cal Newport, I think, refers to as deep work. Now, I love my office. My office is a fantastic environment. I love spending time with the team there and the ideas we bounce around, the conversations we have. But there's also a time and a place for just getting your head down and doing that deep work. So with that in mind, in the future, once I can return to my office, which I'm looking forward to, I will also be spending more time working from home and I'm currently building my shed quarters, a log cabin in the garden, which will become my home office studio in the garden. So that's one part I'm really enjoying. Something else I want to carry forward into the new normal is this daily exercise. Now, I've always been able to do daily exercise, and for some reason I've never made the time for it, but I'm making the time for it now. Every day, an hour or two a day, walking anywhere between sort of 4 and 7 miles through the fantastic forests that we've got surrounding the house here. And I'm using that time to listen to podcasts, listen to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk podcasts, to just be at one with nature. And in terms of ideas and inspiration and just becoming stronger for the future, that daily exercise has been just a fantastic experience for me. So that's something else I'm looking forward to carrying forward into this new normal, whatever the new normal might look like. So that's just an update from me. We are thinking about how we reopen fully, how we bring things back to normal, but also how we carry things over that have been really beneficial and really valuable during this lockdown period. I hope you're doing the same, and I hope you're keeping well. And I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.